Hello, good evening, or good morning, whichever time you're watching this. My name's Scott Andrews. I work for Conwy County Borough Council in North Wales. I'm doing a presentation on some flood sensors that we have been implementing above a village called Llanfatal Hen, and the stream is called Nant Barog. So I'll just give you some context first. So here's a map of the UK, located in northwestern Europe. And this is a map of the UK with its constituent nations of England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. Conwy County Borough Council is in Wales. It's important because we do have different environmental laws and legislation, social care, statutes that carries on in Wales. That is different to England. And Conwy County Borough Council that I work for is located in the north of Wales, and the purple arrow is actually pointing roughly where the village of Llanfatal Hen is located. And then this is a closer up map of Conwy County itself. And again, the purple arrow points roughly where Llanfatal Hen is. The county covers a population of about 130,000 people. About 80% of the population is located along the coastal strip of the towns of Conwy, Llandudno, Colwyn Bay, Abergele, Penwy Mawr. It's predominantly English speaking along the coast, and as you go inland, it becomes predominantly Welsh speaking, it becomes rural, it's mainly agricultural, um, which is compared to the coast, which is primarily a tourist destination built up from the Victorian period. So this is the area that we're going to be working on. This is a farm called Nant Isaf, and you can just see here where the stream is. This stream is called Nant Barog. Okay, so here's a map of the area that we've been working on. So you can see these blue squares. These are 1 kilometre in size. Here's the village of Llanfatal Hen, and you can see this blue line coming out. This is Nant Barog, and it goes all the way up here. And you can see from the orange contours that surround Nant Barog that there's some steep hills with a large catchment area. So even though Nant Barog itself is only like 4 or 5 kilometers long, it's got a large catchment area very quickly coming out to the village. So, and because that large catchment area, Nant Barog does flood, and the residents of Llanfatal Hen have suffered severe floods in the past. Nant Barog goes through a culvert in the heart of the village, and that culvert can carry 3.5 cubic meters of water per second. But when certain circumstances happen, where there's sodden ground after rain and then there's a sudden heavy downpour, Nant Barog takes more water than the culvert can handle into the heart of the village. So we want to try and use LoRaWAN to try and understand more what we can do and gather data. So you can see these arrows here. The LoRaWAN gateway is on Ysgol Llanfatal Hen, that's the local school doing infant and junior level primary school. We've got some water level sensors on a culverted bridge at Nant Isaf Farm, and we also have some water level sensors on an open stream at Tŷ Newydd. And beyond Tŷ Newydd, we're having problems with the signal hitting the gateway due to the lay of the land. I say this because, again, if I get my laser pointer, here's the school, and you can make out the orange contours. So there's actually a hill in the way here. So even though Nant Isaf is only 600 meters or so away, we do actually have some problems getting the signal there. But I'll feed that back into lessons learned and what would change in the future. Because as we all know, LoRaWAN line of sight is best, but signal does bounce around. So here's a map that's kind of zoomed in a bit more, and we've got some more information. So our flooding teams are from NRW. So that means Natural Resources Wales, which is a Welsh government agency that looks after the flooding, and the county council also has responsibility for flooding as well. So we're trying to work together. So I work in the IT section. I don't have any specific knowledge on the flooding side of things. So I've been told to place sensors on the upstream of possible obstructions, such as culverts. So we've actually placed the we've actually placed the sensors this side of the bridge rather than that side of the bridge. They're here, and where there are streams converging coming down, we've been advised to place the sensors downstream of streams converging. So we've placed a sensor here, and that's the T Newydd location. Here's a picture of the gateway at the local school. It reaches up above the chimney and above the ridge line. There's the ridge line of the roof. It reaches above that, and as you can see here, it reaches above the roof line, and the first sensor is just 600 meters away at Nantisaf, and T Newydd itself is 1 kilometer away. So this is a picture of the culvert at Nantisaf, and I've placed some sensors on the upstream side of this. It's a steep-sided gully, and it does cause problems with the LoRaWAN signal. So this is my Heath Robinson, which is, just means me just smacking some pieces of wood together with some nails and bits of plastic tape and things. But it's well, let's go and have a close look. So we've got two different sensors here. We've tried a sense edge puck because it is lower cost than an LSIS sonar sensor. But I think we'll probably stick with the LSIS on future deployments. We found the readings more erratic on the sense edge puck, but we found the sensor very reliable. Generally, the LSIS sensor, and that's also in other areas, because we're also trying to use the LoRaWAN in like a social care context for evaluating how we can do that and how we can monitor footfall, things and things like that. But you can see here the LSIS sensor. This is the one without the transmitter aerial. Lessons learned, I would definitely say that if you can, I'd definitely advocate you purchasing sensors with an external aerial. It does go further. It just does. It's much more reliable. I appreciate in some places you might want to keep it a more lower profile, maybe for vandalism or things. But if you can, if you feel it's right, go for the one with the aerial. Working with the staff at NRW, the Natural Resources Wales, we've had to do some volume calculations, working out the distances and everything. And then here's our second location on Nant Barog. This is further up now, and you can see, so this is an area where two fields come down at the bottom of a valley, and at the bottom is the river Nant Barog. So you can see we've been measuring the distances there as well. And there's a close-up of the sensors. You can see there we've done, for a comparison, we've just used the same sensors again. And back at the school itself, closer up, we've got a NetVox temperature and humidity sensor, and that is located in this unit here. And then further up, we've got the rainfall sensor, and this a clever bit of kit. It's got a small solar panel which charges the capacitors. It measures the rainfall in 0.2 millimeter sections, and then you can trend that all out. So the data feeds into TTN. We connect that up to WSO2, so open source connection software, and then we can bring that data into our traditional Microsoft SQL Server backends, because we've already got Microsoft SQL Server licensed within the authority for doing other work. Then we're also using Grafana as well to visualize and interpret the data. So I'm just going to try and find that. So I'm going to try and do a live demo here. So here's Grafana, and we've got some of the data that's coming in from the weather. So what we found on the Nantisaf sensor, that the sonar it pans out, and we have problems with getting some of the readings there. So we are going to try a different sensor on that, which I'll touch on in a little bit. We also have the rainfall sensor here. You can see the trend here over the last 7 days, which obviously I can change that. Last 30 days. last 12 hours. It's been raining, as you can see. And you can see there, compared to the information that's coming in from the school or the atmospheric pressure, you can see how few dots we're getting through at Nantisaf in comparison there. And the water levels, we keep on getting an erratic every so often. So here we go. So last 7 days, and you can see how the water height at T Newydd, this is the one that's in the bottom of the valley, not in the steep sided gully. And then we just have this erratic reading. We know how to remove that, where on the payload detector on TTN, if you tell it to ignore certain readings over a certain threshold, because it can just say that's just an erratic reading, I don't want that data coming in, you can do that. But I just wanted to demonstrate that there. So that's I go back to here, and there's some other data here. So it's on Grafana. This is all internal at the moment, but we are working on and setting up the public-facing side of things, so that the public can get information about their own communities. So whilst we're working on Llanfatel, which is one small village with a flooding issue, there's no reason why this can't be expanded over other villages and towns in our county area, and obviously you could do the same in your own respective areas. So we've got all that data there. We're toying with ideas about how you could merge it all, but we're aware that we're dealing with the public's. We need the information to be clear. We need people to be able to understand it. So whilst this is there's a lot more information here, we're actually scrolling up and down, and normally in a professional context, you might actually maybe bring some of the data together. We wanted to keep it very clear. And then we can also, if I click back on home, just for fun, we've got some temperature comparison in some other villages, Dolwood Alan, Llandrillo Ross and Llanfatel Hen, and we can just compare the max temperature and the minimum temperature. Let's see, it's there we go. Both situated is not particularly cold in the grand scheme of things. So I'll get back to my presentation. And so I'm just going through the merits there of Grafana, which I ended up doing live. And I've mentioned there about the sonar and how the signal actually comes out. So that's why we're going to try this other sensor here, which is a LiDAR Sensors, a Dragino unit. What we're going to try and do here is place this Dragino unit using LiDAR, because LiDAR is a straight line, so it's a laser or a light. The plan is to place it at the top of a pipe. In the UK, we call them soil pipes, for taking waste from a toilet. So we're going to have a soil pipe, a clean one, vertical in a stream, place this sensor at the top, have a float inside the soil pipe, perhaps a polystyrene ball or a solid plastic ball, something that will float as the river goes up and down. And as the LiDAR sensors detecting it, means we'll just get an accurate measurement of the water level without any interference from the external environment. And that's about it, really. That's what we've been doing at Llanfatel Hen in Conwy County Borough Council. Thanks very much for watching, listening. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. You'll find me on LinkedIn.